August 2nd, 2018, Apple made history by becoming the first publicly traded US company to be valued at $1 trillion. 5 years later, it crossed the $3 trillion market cap. So what's the secret to Apple's success? Is it Steve Jobs' turtlenecks? Maybe Siri? Or perhaps their favorite line at the end of every keynote?
One more thing.
No, Apple's success lies in a strategic vision. A vision that transcended simple desktop computing. A vision to build an ecosystem of simple but innovative products. When Steve Jobs first launched the iMac, he put an emphasis on a strong marketing campaign which featured the slogan, "Think Different." A message that Apple have carried forward as they built their empire, conquering the smartphone market, the personal computer industry, the tablet market, the wearable and smartwatch market, the music industry, and even the finance industry. But there's one industry that Apple is still yet to conquer, the upwards of $10 trillion healthcare industry. It's been on their radar for a while. Don't just take it from me. Here's Apple CEO Tim Cook.
This is an area that I believe, if you zoom out into the future and you look back and you ask the question, what was Apple's greatest contribution to mankind? It will be about health.
But that leaves one question. What's been taking them so long? Apple's success to date has been heavily because of their strategy. They tend to dip their toes into a market and test the waters, and then plan the best route to execute. Their strategy towards healthcare isn't any different. They are drawing up blueprints as we speak, and this blueprint to dominate the healthcare industry involves 3 phases. Back in 2014, when Tim Cook unveiled the Apple Watch, he described it as the next chapter in Apple's story. He's been leaving cryptic breadcrumbs, all pointing towards the Apple Watch being the centerpiece of their grander ambitions to dominate healthcare. Reports suggest that it now holds between 20 to 30% of the global smartwatch market. Yet, despite this global penetration, Apple are afraid. The Apple Watch is stronger than ever, boasting health functionalities ranging from the single lead ECG, pulse oximeter, heart rate monitor, respiratory rate monitor, accelerometer for fall detection, exercise tracking, and even sleep analysis. The list could go on, but Apple continue to market their Apple Watch as an entertainment tool to what's known as the worried well. Currently, it's more of a nice to have for the general population instead of a necessity for the sick that actually need it. Have you ever noticed that they tactically use the words health and fitness when describing the Apple Watch's capability and shy away from the care part in healthcare? This decision isn't out of choice, however. Apple wished that they could break out of the worried well market. In fact, this was the original vision of the Apple Watch. There are tons of reports that talk about a secret mission that came from Steve Jobs directly back in 2010, 4 years prior to the arrival of the first Apple Watch. And this mission involved developing a non-invasive blood sugar monitor under a secret health tech sister company called Avalon. But in 2014, when Tim Cook unveiled the Apple Watch and boasted of its health functionalities like the heart rate monitor, the non-invasive blood glucose monitor was nowhere to be seen. Why? Because Apple faced a harsh reality. Apple soon realized that moving into caring for diseases would entangle the company in a web of different regulatory regimes and potential legal issues. Instead, since then, they've been skating around the problem. And that problem is healthcare is messy. And if you want to get involved, you have to get your hands dirty. But if there's one thing we know about Apple, whether it's the sleek design of their MacBook, the minimalistic operating systems, or their notoriously recognized Apple stores, they don't like mess. So unfortunately, they sit stuck in phase 1, collecting health data, desperately trying to break out of this vicious cycle catering for just the worried well. So with all this health data Apple's been collecting in phase 1, they've started to lay the foundations for once they break out of it. The Apple Health app that sits on every single iPhone in the world is a perfect example. Everything health related all in one place. A sleep tracker, the quantification of wellness metrics including physical activity, mindfulness, nutrition, sleep, alongside the option to connect health sensors and wearables to monitor specific biomarkers to track trends. As of 2021 with iOS 15, iPhone and Apple Watch users have had the ability to share their health data with health professionals. In the US, the health app can integrate with electronic health records, allowing physicians to track trends and spot deteriorations in patients sooner. But again, Apple's vision to use this health data in a meaningful way is so much grander. Their role play? Health insurance. Apple know that if they join some dots together, they can become a very competitive health insurance player. Their gamified hardware and software health and fitness solutions are ultimately just a health promoting act. Generally, those who use Apple's health and fitness solutions are far more likely to at least think about the consequences of what they do and the effect it has on their physical and mental well-being. In general, these people will be healthier, and I think Apple know this. So if many of the biggest health impacts, whether it's diabetes, heart disease, obesity, can be mitigated against by health healthier habits. It makes sense for Apple to associate this health data with health insurance. Imagine a world where you purchase insurance and you are heavily discounted on your health plans if you are an active user of the Apple Health app and have an Apple Watch. Apple's access to their financial products, whether it's Apple Pay or Apple Credit Card, means that it doesn't sound too far-fetched. It would be genius. The more you use an Apple Watch to keep fit, the cheaper your insurance would be. This could be further reinforced by perks and rewards. Imagine if meeting your fitness goals and completing your activity ring for the day gives you free access to Apple Music. This incentivization will be another strategy to dominate a larger chunk of the smartwatch market also. The possibilities are truly endless, but the real barriers again lie in navigating the ethical problems this raises. The last step in this master plan will be for Apple to move into consumer care. But what does this mean? Well, imagine going to the doctors, but picture the sleek design of the Apple Store and the customer service of the Genius Bar, paired with the latest health technology. Phase 3 involves setting up physical brick and mortar clinics with Apple's own doctors, all to provide the ultimate patient experience in care. In July 2021, Amazon acquired One Medical for $3.9 billion to start executing a very similar vision. It only seems fitting that Apple will be quietly observing and taking notes, with an aim to replicate with their own twist. Bloomberg even reported that Tim Cook had been pitched this very idea on health clinics inside Apple stores, and this proof of concept idea was actually tested as employee-only clinics, but the problem was it was plagued by unprofitable costs alongside management issues. Apple soon realized that healthcare is a sensitive space and you're dealing with people's lives. Even with the best intentions, it will be near impossible to uphold Apple's 100% customer satisfaction standard. I think what stopped Apple from going all in is they are concerned about their image. We all trust Apple because of this image, but if a patient received a poor experience, it reflects negatively on their brand and reputation that they've been carefully building for 30 years. Instead, Apple have decided to move slowly but carefully so they can get this final step in their mission right. Apple's three-phase blueprint to dominate healthcare is a master plan, and perhaps when Tim Cook said Apple's greatest contribution to mankind will be health, he actually meant it. But if one thing's for sure, they have a long way to go before total domination. Please make sure you subscribe. If you enjoyed this documentary style video on innovation in healthcare, please let me know in the comments. See you next time.